Hello everyone, Frost here. Welcome back to a new classic WoW video. This is a continuation from the rare and expensive vanilla items that we made back in September and January. The series received very good feedback, getting 4 to 5 times the views compared to the number of subscribers on this channel. This led me to believe that you guys really enjoy this type of content. Like we said, vanilla is abundant in rare treasures, and today we're going to discuss 9 more of them, explaining how to obtain and why they worth so much. This should serve as a piece of information, a little bit of knowledge to carry with you in the upcoming classic release, because it would be a shame to find yourself in a position owning one of these items and not knowing the true value of it. Knowledge is power, and power is to be wielded wisely. But before we get into this, a quick word from our sponsor. Star Trek Online is a free-to-play MMORPG that allows players to explore the Star Trek universe from within. They just released a new expansion called Rise of Discovery. In the game's 2 new episodes, players will embark on missions featuring Captain Lorca and Commander Landry, battle alongside the USS Buran. Players can forge their own destiny as captain of a Federation starship, champion the Empire through the far reaches of the galaxy as a Klingon warrior, rebuild the Romulan legacy as the commander of a Romulan republic, or carry out daring missions both on land and in the far reaches of the universe. Captains can also explore iconic locations from the Star Trek universe, make contact with new alien species, and battle alongside other players in customizable starships. Starships that will scale with players' level. And you might say, wow, sounds cool, where do I sign up? You can click the first link in the description down below. Now without further ado, let's explore some rare and expensive items. The first item in our list is Tempestria's Frozen Necklace. This accessory drops from a rare level 60 elite called Princess Tempestria, a rare mob that was added in patch 1.4 along with the elemental invasion. The princess will patrol around Lake Kelturil in Winterspring, surrounded by 4 extra adds with levels between 56 and 58. On top of the necklace that drops with about 27% chance, the loot table is filled with other valuable items such as Ace of Elementals, Essence of Water, and Frigid Band. The price of the necklace can be anywhere from 100 to 500 gold, depending on how close Naxxramas is to release. Now, Tempestria's Frozen Necklace is not necessarily the best in slot frost resistance neck. That spot is held by the Touch of Frost that drops from a Nubrakan in Naxxramas. Although that item might be reserved for tanks and people with important positions in a guild, making Tempestria's, in a way or another, still more important than Touch of Frost. Before we get into killing this rare mob, first we have to find it. Unfortunately, no real data was available, and all I found was some rumors that Princess spawns every 3 days. On some forums, people said that she can spawn within 40 to 48 hours, or on a fixed period of 72 hours. Let's say you get lucky and find this mob. Well, I wouldn't say lucky, as the princess has around 15,000 HP, hits for about 1k damage, and has 4 abilities: Cone of Cold, Frost Nova, Frostbolt, and Geyser. All these abilities have increased damage and about 50% more CC efficiency. The point is, I highly doubt you will be able to solo this encounter. Maybe a hunter might be able to kite and lose the 4 adds, but just to be safe, make sure to call a friend and have some potions with you. Our second item is the Staff of Jordan. The name of this item is a direct reference to the early World of Warcraft developer Kevin Jordan. Contrary to the popular belief, the Stone of Jordan from Diablo 2 was not named after Kevin and has no direct reference in World of Warcraft. One of Kevin's responsibilities was the design and implementation of spells and talents for all classes in vanilla. Later references can be found in Wrath of the Lich King with Sash of Jordan, and in Burning Crusade with the BOE accessory set Lola's Eve and Charlotte's Ivy, which are the names of his twin daughters. Kevin is now a full-time streamer, and you can find him on twitch.tv/KevinJordan. The Staff of Jordan itself is a level 35 epic wall drop with 26 spell power, 11 intellect and 11 spirit. At the first glance it looks like a weapon that will help casters on the leveling journey to 60. But that's not why people buy it for prices that can range from 300 to 600 gold. The item is sought out mostly by the twinking community, the level 39 bracket, and while the staff does wonders for warlocks, mages and priests, the enhancement shamans are the ones that will benefit the most from this stuff. And not because of the spell power that will boost their shocks and lightnings, but because of the high damage output and the slow speed that can be tweaked with only 3 points in flurry to a final 3.10 second swing, leaving 2 more talent points to be added wherever they desire. Wind Fury procs, shocks and nasty ass chains will make an enhancement shaman destroy everything in the level 39 twink bracket. So is the price justified for this item? I guess so, especially due to its rarity. The most common place you'll see it dropping will be in dungeons like Zul'Farrak and Uldaman, couple of places in Feralas, Badlands, Searing Gorge, and random mobs with levels between 38 and 43 all around the world. The drop chance is very low, consider yourself very lucky if you obtain one. Warden Staff. Now that I have to mention the only staff with defense in game, old vanilla memories kick in. I got this item back in 2005, I remember because I was mind-boggled. An Anvil Rage Warden dropped the Warden Staff. The mob was a warrior, why would it drop a staff with defense on it? But it made sense, that was a tanking staff. I did eventually give it to a druid in my guild and he really made use of it. The price for this level 43 epic world drop is between 200 and 350 gold on the auction house, being an iconic weapon and the only staff that druids can use proudly early game. Stamina, armor, defense, a tanking druid wannabe, wet dream. And don't get me wrong, I like feral druids tanking, especially for 5-man dungeon speedruns. If we're running lower Blackrock Spire for the UBRS key, I would always choose a druid because they can also DPS and do some proper AoE tanking. Speaking of tanking, Stockade Shoulders fit the actual tanks pretty well. I mean, let's be honest, even the War Chief wears them. Troll himself. Initially the Stockade Pauldrons were designed and intended for tanking paladins. Unfortunately, vanilla does not have any. So it was left for the warrior to carry this heavy burden, literally, both in weight and price. The price of them early game can be anywhere between 80 gold and maybe 200 gold due to not having too many alternatives such as the bulky iron shoulders from Darmol. Fortunately or unfortunately for warriors, one of the classes that will have to spend tons of gold in vanilla, Stockade Shoulders will serve as pre-best in slot up until you get the Might Shoulders from Molten Core, assuming they will have 1.12 itemization. Even then, it's debatable as most tanks will prefer to be defense capped, opposed to having some better stats. PS, I would take the Might Shoulders just for the looks. If I die, it's a healer's fault. But not to worry, healers will also have to spend. Cassandra's Grace, a level 42 blue item, seems to have a decent value on the auction house at the first glance. But its value can be way bigger than expected as Cassandra's Grace serves as pre-best in slot item for healers, especially priests. The price of it early game can go anywhere from 70 to maybe 200 gold, depending on how many dedicated healers in competitive guilds are on your server. Now take these prices with a grain of salt as it might not reflect the actual prices in classic WoW, but in some cases they could go even higher. The point was always to realize when you have an expensive item in your bag. Cassandra's Grace is a BoE world drop, the drop chance will obviously be boosted compared to our previous stuff of Jordan and the amount of mobs that can drop it 3 times higher. Nevertheless, if you get one, still consider yourself lucky. Underworld Band. A level 38 epic ring with 14 spell power, 10 stamina and 6 spirit, making this item a great addition on the leveling journey to level 60 by warlocks and shadow priests. Some might even keep it as an alternative pre-best in slot ring to avoid further investments as the next best option offers 4 more spell power. The value of such an item can go anywhere from 150 to 300 gold, and this price will be pretty consistent through the vanilla timeline as the twinking community will be back and thriving. The ring can be used in both 39 and 49 twin brackets, and players can equip 2 at the same time because they're not unique. Due to its rarity as a BoE world drop, the multi-purpose usability and the consistency of price, it made it to this list. AQ Spellbooks. Shortly after the launch of Ankiraj, the spellbooks that drop from AQ20 will have high value on the market, especially the important main ones like Tome of Frostbolt 11, Grimoire of Shadowbolt 10, Guide of Multishot 5, and many more. Everyone will be desperate to get their hands on as soon as possible, and if one will end on the auction house, people will have bidding wars. Normally, you would get these spells from the guild raids or from pug groups, as AQ20 is pretty puggable. People that won't be in PvE guilds or players that focus mainly on PvP will have a harder time acquiring them and most likely will get them late, after guilds got them for all their members. Although the price tends to go down in that time. I do not have accurate prices on what these books will sell for, but in the first weeks the values can go up to maybe 1000 golds for a rare one. Pattern, Robe of the Archmage, True Fate, and Void. These patterns are used by tailors to create the bind on pickup pre-best in slot robes. While the True Fate vestments and Robe of the Void are harder to acquire as they drop from end bosses in dungeons and have a lower drop chance, the plans for Robe of the Archmage on the other hand drops from the Firebrand Pyromancers in Lower Blackrock Spire, pretty close to the dungeon entrance, if you do a jump run, and they have a slightly higher drop chance. These patterns used to be bind on pickup prior to patch 1.4, or maybe 1.5, I don't remember. The point is that due to the 1.12 itemization in Classic, people will be able to sell them on the auction house. The price of one of these patterns can be anywhere from 30 gold to maybe 150 gold, the more expensive side, early game. Remember, if you have a tailor class that can use the pattern, make sure you let him have it, don't ninja. Blazing Emblem, a level 38 blue trinket that drops all around the world with a small chance. It does not seem to do much at all other than the passive 15 fire resistance and the on-use fire res increase. It does serve, however, warrior tanks, mostly the ones that do not have engineering for the Hyper Radiant Flame Reflector. It's a good fire resistance item for content like Ragnaros, Onyxia, and maybe Blackwing Lair. Kinda doubt the usefulness of it, but it appears that many tanks purchase it early game. The price can go anywhere from 30 gold to 150 gold, and in case you find one, think about selling it before equipping an item that will become obsolete. This is it, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something new. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Until next time, stay frosty.